All right. Well, hey, Coaches Up for Change. This is our executive director call, our first one of 2023. So I'm glad you guys are here. Really questioned whether or not to have it. I know it is the official holiday, New Year's holiday. I know a lot of people are still with family, trying to get back into the groove of things. So I appreciate you being here, and we're going to record for those that that aren't here. And today's call is going to be, I really want it to be really just kind of interactive, kind of talking about the new year. As leaders on our team, you guys really help set the tone, the mood, the pace for the organization. So one, just want to make sure we're all on the same page. We've got a lot that is going on. So making sure we all understand it, we all know what's coming up, so that we can, one, be on board for ourselves, but second, be able to communicate it for our coaches, and then offer the ability for you guys to ask questions, interact. But I was wondering, before we do that, do you guys want, had a little video made to show about our community and impact. So you guys want a little sneak preview? I'm going to show it on Team Time tonight. But I think if you asked me what is special about our team, I would say it's our community, that what we have created. I wouldn't say I think Optavia in general is great, but I think we have a really special community. And I think we really learned through this past year the power of getting together in person. Again, COVID in 2020 had us sitting behind our desk a lot. And I think that we're finding that that community is important. So kudos to you guys, because a lot of you guys stepped out of your comfort zones and held your own events. So I wanted to be able to recognize that and put it in there. But the other is, I want you to see the impact that we made, because I think as one person, right? As Mother Teresa said, or is it Mother Teresa that says, as one person, we can do so much, but together. And I was blown away by these numbers. So it's about 3 minutes, the video. So just sit back and enjoy. And let's check it out. Oop. Hang on for a second. I got to make sure I have my sound on. So what do you think? Yay, you. So awesome, right? So awesome. Does anybody want to share? Does anything come to mind? Maybe if you stepped out of your comfort zone or you held an event or maybe what that did for you, just kind of seeing the impact that we're making?
I will. I did 2 events this past year. One with a couple of other coaches, and we just invited people over, and we had leaning greens and like appetizers and stuff, and gave out recipes. And I just love the community. I thought that was great. The other thing I did was a friend of mine is a yoga teacher, and she needed some practice hours. So I had a yoga event in my home that was like late morning before lunchtime. And it was just a nice way. It was a small gathering. I had a couple clients there, a couple of old clients, but it was just a nice way to connect with other people who are focused on their health, whether they're currently Optavia clients or past or whatever, but it was just a nice way to gather.
That's
So
awesome. Awesome. I think it's the things that were reflected in there, we had individual events. Some people had small things in their home, some had bigger ones. Others were the regional events that we had. There was Grow Global in there, convention, just Awaken. It just reminded me that there were so many opportunities that we could gather. And shame on me, I wanted to have the number in here. I want to say we brought in, I was going to include it and then chose not to, but we brought in like, I'll share it in the group, but a good amount of new executive directors last year as well. I want to say like 12 or 15 new executive directors. So just keep in mind that there are people on the call. Did anybody on this call become executive director this year? Corey, I feel like you did, right? Corey, were you even a coach? Share your story. You were not even a coach yet at the beginning of this year.
Oh, no, I had,
Or
I just started in December of last year. So
yeah,
and then
so
became,
and so one of those pictures I think was a regional event you went to, and then you decided to become a coach. So just to keep that in mind, you guys, like there are people like your next executive directors, your next coaches, you may have not even met them yet. Like that's how much can change in a year, and it's pretty exciting. And I also wanted to give special shout out, hopefully you saw from convention, but we were able to recognize Lauren got recognized on stage for global director last year. Meg got recognized for reaching presidential director, and Meg was also one of the Ignite winners for Optavia. So we've had some really significant things happen. So I'm just excited about that. And I think, like I said, I think as we are moving forward, into 2023, we look at what's different about us and what's different about Optavia. Honestly, my platform that I'm speaking to is community, really community and impact and education. I think that is what sets us apart. And I always say there's a million ways to skin a cat. There's a million ways to lose a weight, but there's nothing really out there, in my opinion, that offers what we offer. And I think when you are asked, how does this differ from that? Or how does your plan differ from that? I don't even talk about the details of the weight loss plan. That's a given. It works, but it's this that makes the big difference. But community is important. It's important for us as individuals. And I was watching on one of my walks, I was watching Andy Stanley he's the pastor of the church I go to, but everything he speaks to, I feel like is just good living, no matter what your belief system is. But he was talking about, it was called Known for It was the name of what he was talking about. And he was just talking about that we live in a world where we're doing a lot of pretending. There's a lot of pretending. It's not just us, but I just want you to be aware that we feel like we have an image to maintain, right? But so does the world. And so often of what we're seeing of other people is not really who they are, but what we're all genuinely seeking is that place to belong, and also that place where we can go like, really, like, you feel that, like, me too, and that's really what I want to create, especially within our whole organization, but be able to create that for our clients, be able to have that, and it's going to look different at every level, but also have that for our leadership team, and be able to come here and say, like, I'm really struggling because my business was slipping, at the end of 2022, and it did not feel good. It scared me. I mean, honestly, I will tell you that has been my feeling. But I can also tell you that with this new incentive, this incredible incentive from Optavia, and then just seeing what you guys did in the last 2 weeks of the year, or last week of the year, I feel a renewed optimism. I feel back to like, wow, like it's time to set some new goals again. And it's time to, set goals for me, set goals for the org, and set like those dream goals. So I really want to encourage you to take advantage of this time of the year, not to lose sight of planning and setting goals. I mean, goals are really for who they stretch us to become. And I think a lot of us kind of slipped into a place of complacency, especially when we were a little bit scared about what was happening with the business. So I don't know if anybody wants to kind of speak on that, or how you're feeling, maybe how you felt at the beginning of December and how you feel now. Hey, Lori.
Hi. Yeah. So my business was really pretty flat, and it has been, like, a lot of people have shared. So I was feeling pretty discouraged, but I am really super excited about the offer that Optavia is doing. I feel like we got the survey, and I am presuming, but I shouldn't, that feedback that they got from that may have sounded very similar across the board, and maybe the discouragement was noted. I'm not sure. But when they came out with that, I thought, okay, wow. So, that survey was really positive, and if that had something to do with it, and that they're really listening, and they really do want this to continue in the positive way that it has always been. So anyway, I was just really happy about that. And it's really rejuvenated me, and it's given me a major lift, because I wasn't real sure, well, how am I going to keep my position here? And it's not about the rank, but, you're just scrambling for such a time. And so anyway, it's just rejuvenated me. I just feel super inspired and excited, and just really and truly, not just a slogan of, new year, new you, but I really feel like that's the case. I'm real excited about the opportunity, and I'm thankful that they're listening.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Anyone else on that?
Yeah, I'll share. I definitely, the last week of December was like, oh my gosh, what in the world is going on? But it got to a point where I kind of got resolved to the fact that, okay, this is what it is, and I can't just sit in the stew and be like, I even text Lauren and said, what will be. If I make ED, fine. If I don't, I need to focus and keep going forward. And I did make it by the skin of my teeth. And even when we had our session today, and she and I were talking, and I said, I gotta keep looking. I have to keep looking forward. And this incentive really is such a great opportunity. And I feel like it's a necessary juice, I guess, to infuse into getting us back on track. It's a great opportunity, and just even getting tips from Lauren on just what are some things that I can do to kind of look outside the box to kind of rebuild my front line and whatnot. And so I'm really encouraged and excited about what January is actually going to actually be by the end. So I have daily actions that I'm committing to, and I'm excited about it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. It's interesting, just even speaking with a few people, it was almost as if like having this opportunity got us, a lot of us, back into action, doing the things that we actually know, like actually making those follow-up calls, actually maybe calling or personally texting people. And, it's easy when we kind of get into a slump and when we start to feel discouraged is we actually stop doing the things that actually are the things that move the business forward. So much of this is emotional resilience in a business like ours, right? Like we've got to be able to have the ability to be able to sustain the kind of hard times. But we have like you were saying, like a gift in our hands right now. So sometimes at the beginning of the month, I think sometimes I know I've been known to do it. We can kind of exhale, like, okay, made it through the month. But I really encourage you to just keep like, now is the time that you want to be sprinting, because we've got this entire month with this, but this is the month that people are really setting that, like individuals are usually looking to make change, and people will return to the program, or your chance to find new people, and also the absolute opportune time for new coaches. Like imagine a new coach right now being able to come on and then start sharing with the special to their world that really doesn't know about Optavia. It's a huge opportunity. So I would just encourage you to be bringing people to Coach Explorers with your team, to encourage your coaches to bring people to Coach Explorers or those tips calls. Like these systems that we have in place of the tips calls and the explore calls, really want to make sure that we're taking advantage of those best practices, because they really do make a difference on that. Other questions or comments? Lori Cole, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, one of the things I'm seeing is December was a super quiet month for me, and in just circling up back to the basics, back to the things that I know move the dial. And the first thing is getting my own health in check. And then the second thing is doing the systems that I know work. Continuing to post about the health journey, reaching out to new people, commenting on maybe one of their photos, maybe, just doing the circle around and bringing people into my orbit has really moved the dial. On Saturday, it was kind of a culmination of several things that came together, and I had 3 interest calls, but these people have never liked or commented or anything else on my social media. So just being assured that when you're putting things out there with confidence that people are watching, and that's just the past week and what I've seen. So I just want to encourage us just to step back into our own health and do the things that we know move the dial for our business.
Lori, can I put you on the spot a little bit?
It sounds like you can, yes.
I mentored directly with Lori, but I feel like transparency is so important. And Lori, you and I met even like earlier in the week before those 3 people popped up, right? Those 3 people popped up. And how long had it been since you had a new client?
The beginning of November.
Mm-hmm. So Lori's one of our top coaches, top leader, has always had a real strong, and still has a strong front line, but it had been, was really in a dry season. What do you think you've done differently, like in how you're showing up on social media? Because you haven't given up, but you've definitely brought a different energy to it. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is different that maybe is attracting?
So I feel like it's surrender. I feel like it's just doing me and finding my mix of things that I think are funny or silly, and then also serious, adding value, genuinely like connecting with people, not with the intention so that they will join our team or so that they will become a client, but just genuinely caring about where they are. And I think stepping back from the striving, like I felt like before this, it was like a machine in me. Like, I have to, I need, I have to, I want to, and I was driving myself crazy. And I would wake up at 3 a.m, just panicked almost about, I haven't touched base with that coach in forever. Oh no, I'm a terrible coach, and all these stories, and just surrendering all of that and recognizing that we know the things that work. And when we turn loose of the have to, want, got to idea, that it moves the dial in surrender.
Love that. You see all the heads nodding. Yeah, thank you for sharing, because that is huge. And I have seen a shift of, just more fun. You'll see Lori dancing in her story, that just like, it's date night, like just the super cute things. Like, she's not like, lose weight now, ask me how. It's just, she's just being Lori out there. So I think that is so key. So thanks for being honest with it. And it really is a big deal to be to realize, okay, maybe I need to go back to basics. Maybe I need to do that. User reactions. Raise your hand if you are doing in for 10. Let's just see who's in. Yeah. Okay. So, or use a reaction button, or raise your real hand. Either one. Love it. Yeah. Excellent. So I think, Meg, do you want to speak just to a second about why we wanted to do this, kind of where the idea came from and how it can really magnify help ourselves and then be able to have influence?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we know that when we are all in, right, we are on fire. Every time we're hearing from a coach who hits fat burn, or a client for that matter, right? Like, we're like, oh, yes, I forgot what this feels like, that feeling of control, that enthusiasm, that genuine joy. And the longer we coach, the easier it can be to kind of become numb to that feeling. Like, we know the plan works, right? So by going in for 10, you're allowing yourself to fall back in love with the science and the program, right? But also with the benefits, and really make you a magnet for people. When you've got that fat burn glow, like, people just notice, and it feels good. And we kind of figured, man, we can do anything for 10 days, right? 10 days. We're not making any commitment past the 10 days, but we're committing to going all in for 10. And I think it's going to allow us to show up better for our clients and for those that we want to coach when we do what we know we want to do for 10 days. I heard it from a coach today, and she's like, man, I tell all my clients to like get in the life book. And I guess I need to tell myself that too, but it's so relatable because it's so true, right? She's not the only one. I'm not the only one. You're not the only one. We just got to get back to the basics, and other people are going to benefit from it, and our excitement and enthusiasm will come back. So I'm excited about it.
I love that. I never think there is a coincidence, and I'm actually out of town right now, so I don't have my normal notebooks and whatever's, but I have just this one notebook that I use every day, that I like track the numbers in the business, et cetera. And I must have had it with me at Sundance as well, because I opened it up today and I was like, well, let me get my thoughts together. And I, bam, opened up to some stuff that I had stuff I had written down from Sundance, which is the Advanced Leadership Conference. But I felt like I wanted to share some of these quotes because I wrote down things that were resonating with me, and this was in October. But one of them was change I should to I can to I will. So change from I should to I can to I will. So we've already heard that a couple of times, right? From going back to the basics. How many times have we said, I really should get out that inactive list, right? Or I really should get back on plan, right? I should. And then the next quote I wrote down after that was, mediocrity is a prison. Mediocrity is a prison. And I think, I don't know, I felt like myself and a lot of us were kind of slipping towards the end of last year into a place of mediocrity, just kind of feeling that weight and the heaviness of everything in our lives. But this is what I think really applies to us and where we are. It said, we cannot lead others where we are not willing to go. And I know a lot of us have been struggling with our personal health. We're not feeling as spry as we did when we initially lost our weight, and some has crept back on, et cetera. And that feeling, when we don't feel like we're in integrity, it just oozes subconsciously out into the world. You could be saying one thing, but if you're feeling whatever. So there is power in this 10-day challenge. we really are really, for lack of a better word, kind of copying it from something we saw happen in Doug Wood's organization. And they actually posted every single day. But the energy of their coaches and being able to show like in 2 days, I'm down 3 pounds and this and that and the other thing, but it renewed their coaches' own excitement. And like Meg said, the reminder of what it is that we have in our hands, but that energy is contagious. So what you're going to be putting out to the world, if you decide to share this, we challenge you for 5 as leaders. I would say maybe let's do 10. Just get out there every day, kind of share your results. What that looks like is totally up to you. But another quote that I have written down here is a leader leads by influence. So you have a huge opportunity to influence others right now with one, this special that we have, but also being able to live it out loud yourself. So any questions around the In for 10? I wanted to make sure we're all up to speed right now. The things I think we've got out there are the In for 10. We have the Back to Me in 23. Let's just start with that before I bring up the other 2 things. Questions around any of that? How are your conversations going with clients to help them re-engage by setting some wins, but versus us saying, follow the plan, drink your water, read this page, do this. We felt like kind of when we do that all the time, if somebody blows it for a day or 2, then they're like, can't do this. So how's it going with defining some wins? And how does that feel as a coach to have those kind of conversations with people?
I used Meg's wording on when she was first announcing that we were doing the Back to Me for 23 or in 23, that she said something to the effect of, we just need some wins. People are weary, we're tired, we're just ready for some rejuvenation and some renewal and blah, blah. And so that's kind of what I use when I talk to people. And as I say those things, they're like, yep, me too. Yep. And like, so that's why we're doing this one a little bit differently than we've done in the past. And we're looking for wins and just kind of, I don't know, with the positive spin. And of course, then you also, I'm like, hey, I'm so excited. I'm ready also, like, I think a lot of people are responding very, very well. I love that we're doing this one this way. And it's less like hurry and get there and more like you're already enough. You're already great. And we're going to help you tap back into that. So I love it. And I'm getting good feedback.
I think that's good, for ourselves and in our own personal goals and with helping clients and business goals. I think somewhere along the way, especially the past couple of years, it seems like everybody's kind of like weary of goals and weary of resolutions and just weary in general. But getting back to like, you are okay, like, right. Really showing that care for other people, but what is it you want? And most of us want more. So something I heard about community it was called the ABCs of community, but it was for accountability. So when you're with like-minded people, there's accountability there. So think about this in your partnership with your clients and building that community for them, a sense of belonging and also care. And I think we really need to pay attention, you guys, to really getting back to basics and really connecting with people and taking care of them as our clients and helping them see wins. Because you know what? They're not going to do everything right. I don't do everything right. You don't, probably don't do everything right. But really just not like, oh, that's okay, you'll be fine. But celebrate what's good or whatever, redirect it. But I think more than ever, like we kind of talked about this place of pretending, we need people to know it's okay. It's okay to be transparent and that this is a journey that they are on, and it's definitely progress over perfection. So good. All right, Jennifer.
Yeah, along those lines, I was going to share, just because I wish somebody had shared it with me. I think it was just divine intervention that came to me to do this. But last Friday, so I send a text to my clients every single Friday. And last Friday, being the last Friday of the year, was kind of a time that I could make a reach to clients that have been inactive without calling them out about, hey, you've been inactive, where have you been, right? So I just sent a message and I pulled it up just so you guys could kind of hear it, although it's kind of long. But basically I said, my last weekly text of the year, and even a day earlier than usual, I actually sent it Thursday. I said, I hope your year has been filled with blessings. As a coach, one of the biggest challenges for me is knowing how to serve you. Please reply with the number below that best describes you. And then I put like number 1, I'm all in on the 5-in-1. I've been doing great. I love where I am. Number 2, I've gotten off track, but I'm ready to recommit. I'd love to be down 8 to 12 pounds by the end of January. Number 3, I believe in joining a January challenge with our Eat, Live, and Be Healthy team would benefit me. And then I went on number 4, number 5, there were 7. And people I have not heard from in months replied to it. And it was also really cool to like just people I do talk to just to see like they are still a number 1 through the holidays, right? Like they're like going great. I love 5-in-1. Talk to you this week. And but it's also how I've already had an hour of client calls this morning, and it's how I did them. Like, oh, hey, I pulled up what they sent me before we talked. And then I could say like, okay, you sent me, you were number 3 and a 7. You know, what is that? And one thing I did was a number 8 was, so there were 7 things I came up with. And then number 8, I put, I need something not listed here. And one client did respond with an 8, but with nothing else. She just put an 8 and hit send. And so I was like, I really want to know what that is. Like, how can I better serve you? And it took her days to answer, but then she finally did. And it was really about her. Like she was having this internal struggle and she wasn't sure if she wanted to keep going. And she needed more accountability to herself, to the life book, to the plan, like all this beautiful stuff came out of it. So anyway, I'm just sharing because it's not too late to reach out to so many people because it's only the 2nd. But it was just, I don't know. Like I said, it was like divine intervention because it worked great. And it was really, really helpful for me.
That is the power of listening to the intuition, right? For whatever reason, an idea came to you. You could have chose to ignore it, right? You could have thought, well, it's a Thursday before holidays. I just need to get this out and get on with my holiday, you know, but so kudos for listening to that intuition. And there's a couple questions here, Jennifer. If you would post that, maybe just copy and paste that thing, because any of us could rephrase that. Hey, it's the first Monday of the new year. I'm just curious where you are. And I think that is great when we ask that kind of question. It also comes across more personal than versus like, hey, if you haven't signed up, here's my link, for a call. So I think that's great. I mean, one of the most powerful ones I did one time was, it was just like, hey, do me a favor, respond to this. 1, I'm doing great and I'm rocking my plan, or SOS. Like 2 was SOS. And people I had not heard from in forever were like SOS. Right. It just gave them an opportunity to raise their hand. So I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks. And when I will be happy to post, I'll put it in our ED Facebook group, what I said. But one thing I want to say is, like Dee just said, she didn't even send a calendar link. I didn't either. And then as they answered, I could just say like, thank you for your honesty. Let's connect this upcoming week. And then it gave the door for me to send the link rather than them just being like, oh, there she is every Friday sending the link. So it really, I don't know, it felt more personal too. It wasn't just like massing out. I mean, it went to a lot of people. They just don't know it. It just felt very much like, what do you need right now? So.
Yeah. And that's what people need. That's such an example of the personal touch, because people see it. If it looks like a can, there's the thing she sends every week. They're just numb to it. I love that. Anything else around the back to me, client support?
I was going to just add, because I've had a couple of clients re-engage, 2 that were, I mean, somebody was like one of my first clients. I'm talking like 8-9 years ago, kind of crazy. So the conversations I'm having with them are a little different around, at some point they got close to their goal and then, life happened, right? But to be able to talk about that whole progress versus perfection, and that it's not like we get to our goal and we check it off. Okay, we're done with that. Like we've now done the 1 Ironman and we don't ever have to look at that again, that this is life. And talking a little bit more about what it looks like to have some wiggle room, but mostly stay in that space of how many more times do you want to come back versus wouldn't it be great to get to a space and be able to maintain? And, do you want to learn about that? Because I think some of these clients are so long ago that we're always focused on the end goal and not necessarily the continuing on. So, and with that, going back to something you said at the beginning, Dee, about pretending. We're all pretending on Facebook. I can't tell you, and I don't know how many people are like me, so maybe I'm way off the deep end, but sometimes I'll go and I'll take a picture of something and then something will be like in the background where like, I'm not a wine drinker, but let's just say there was a glass of wine, or my husband will have a beer on the table, right? I'm like, I can't have that in my picture. Like, I got to redo the picture because I don't want the beer because I'm a coach and I can't have a beer, even though it wasn't even mine. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I always feel like I have to be that part where the conversations I'm having, because I'm back in for the 10 days because Mandy Mel made me way too many Buckeyes that I was eating like popcorn, right? So to be able to say that I'm just like you, 10 years later, I'm just like you, and I'm still contending, but guess what? We're going to forever contend. That's what life is. It's like how we get through the journey, how we navigate the journey. So I'm just trying to have a little bit of already like a mindset shift with some people rather than, well, what's your goal this time? I don't know. Does anybody else take a different picture because there's something that shouldn't be in the picture? Okay. Thank you, Vicki. All right. Just making sure it's not just me.
Yeah, it's a delicate dance. You know, we talked about that authenticity and the transparency, right? Like, you know, I think if we make it look like we only eat lean and green, you know, 100% of the time and this and that, meanwhile, we're popping M&Ms behind the scenes. That's not, you know, that's not really authentic either. And one of my, I think most probably 300 likes on a post was one when I had a picture of me eating a donut. And I actually talked about it being a conscious decision and that, you know, I do love, you know, like whatever, but those are, I think we need to be real, but we don't want to be posting that we're at, you know, Dunkin' Donuts every single day or whatever, like that wouldn't be good. So good. So yeah, so a couple things that we did start this year, which were great, were we joined in with the Dream Team, and we have now for the whole organization, we added in the Tuesday night community calls, and those have been great. Just want to remind you, as we are rebuilding with more and more new clients, that we're really plugging people into that. And then just added the Sunday success call, which we had our first one last night. That will be a weekly call we're going to have. So we're encouraging you to drive your new clients and your recommitting clients to that Sunday night call. Now, we know we have a lot of calls, you guys, so you don't have to be on all of them, right? Like community call is great because you're going to learn from it too, et cetera. Like Sunday success call, you probably know that. So I don't want you to get overwhelmed and think I got to be on everything, but maybe if you have a new client and you want to be there to see if they're on or something, that's fine. But we're going to do that call every week. We did record last night, but for the most part, we probably, correct me if I'm wrong, Meg, but we probably won't record them. They're going to be live streamed, but we are going to have different people hosting them. No replacing of the Tuesday call. They're two different themes, Betsy. The theme for Sunday night is going to be pretty consistent week after week, but basically, what are the things that successful clients do? And we're going to make it it's way beyond just stick to the 5 and 1. Right? We're going to show them about living their journey out loud, getting involved in the life book, talking to you as their coach. We're going to edify everything you have been saying to them, but that's why we do it. And then the Tuesday night call is dealing with more of the habits of health, the lifestyle, the habits, the behavioral change, and the deeper stuff with it. So they're actually two different things that we're doing there, and we're piloting it. We're going to watch attendance. We're going to watch and see how it goes. But as we do watch what other organizations do, what seems to be working, and you know, thanks to Meg with this idea, we thought it was something great to roll out, and Maggie did a great job with that last night. One of the things she did was great was a woman was asking how many ounces of lobster to have, and Meg pulled it up and put lobster in the search bar and got it to come up in the group to show people how to use the resources that we have. So that was really good. A couple of things as we're going to wind down. This is a 45-minute meeting, but there's so much out there. I want you to know what's out there. For you guys, this week, it is totally optional, but is powerful, is the Power of One Word workshop, which is Thursday night. It is at 7 p.m. You do pay an additional fee because we're hiring an outside coach to teach that. Susan Brown is a life coach. She wrote a book called The Power of One Word, and many of us have participated in that. And that is rather than maybe setting resolutions or whatnot, but really setting your intention for the year. And that is powerful. So if you want to do that, that is, go ahead and register because we're getting all the information out for that. The second thing I really want to make sure you guys are clear on and aware that's coming is on Saturday, the 14th, it's called Launch into Health. And this is an offering, a field offering that we're doing that the first 2 hours are actually, I think it's 2 hours, are with Dr. A and Dan Bell. And it is free for everyone to attend and designed for you to bring your clients, your program candidates, your coach candidates, to bring them to that, to watch it. And Dr. A is going to really talk about being the dominant force in your life, the power, the ability to turn things around, and the power of our program. Dan Bell will touch on the power of coaching. So this is a huge opportunity, especially as you're bringing in these new clients over the next couple of weeks on the 14th, and your existing clients, to help them re-engage, right? To help them see it all bigger. So that is the 14th. And then in the afternoon, it is then breakout sessions based on rank, on where you are in the company. So there's going to be, like, for brand new coaches or people, you might have somebody on that call who's considering coaching, and we're going to invite them. They can stay on free of charge and say, hey, come on into this first session. You'll see how we train new coaches and get an idea for what that's like. And then there'll be ones for senior coach to executive director to FIBIC, and then FIBIC to IPD. So really encourage you to participate. The big summit was awesome, but this is a huge opportunity. And we're so fortunate that this is out there, because we learn so much from other people, but your candidates hearing it bigger from other people is huge as well. And coaches who haven't engaged yet fully, etc., are welcome to come to that. I'm excited. I'll be helping to teach in the breakout room that is brand new. You know, do you know what you have in your hands? Brand new coaches to senior coach. Yep, I can get you that, Debbie, on the, do we have graphics and stuff for it? Now, there is a fee for it, you guys. It's $49. I think it's $49 for us as coaches to participate. And they are encouraging that all of us do register, that we pay, even if you're having an event. It costs the field, these are coaches that are doing it, cost about, I just learned this the other day, about $20,000 to do this. They do the Monday night calls, and then they're doing this for like this first quarter. So when they have that income, that's how they pay for the website, the registration page that they have, the administrative assistant who does it all, and then being able to get all the logistics in place, the mechanics of the field who run all those rooms so perfectly. So that's why when you see that there's a fee for it, that's why. Okay, and then that is going to kick off, if you want to mark your calendar, because on January 28th is going to be a boot camp that starts, and it's going to be launching. I think I'm not sure what it's called, but it's basically designed. It's going to be, there'll be 4 different groups for the boot camp as well. So you'll be able to plug in at your level. But the one thing I wanted to make sure you're aware of is that I think it's April 20th to 21st is Grow Global, again, which is going to be in Texas. So that is an event that is a qualifying event. So I know some of us talked about, reaching our ranks, making our ranks. I don't know that they've released the qualifications, but we would like you to be with us at that event in Dallas. We know that in-person events are really, really powerful.
What are the dates? What are the dates again, Dee, for that?
Look it up. I need to look it up. I want to say because I was checking something else. I want to say it's the weekend of like April 20th and 21st, but I'm not 100% confident on that. Yeah, 20th, 21st, and 22nd is what I think it is, but I need to double check on that. Okay.
That is correct, Dee.
Okay.
It's
perfect.
that Thursday through Sunday, the 20th. Yeah, April.
Okay, great. Yeah. And I'll get that calendar for you. We actually have all the dates for everything for this coming year. So getting all that, putting in ink on your calendar so you can book other things around it is super, super helpful. So, and then be thinking about who's going to come with you. Right? Remember what we talked about, that you can have, you may have EDs on your team or people you can help reach ED, or that brand new coach you haven't met yet. We've had people go ED in 3 weeks, on our team. So that's the cool thing, is we don't know what's around the corner, right? You might, your whole business can change, right? And you never know. Okay. And then lastly, I wanted to thank you guys for your feedback on this meeting. And I was excited to share that 80%, 26 people responded to that survey. 80% of you guys said you love the meetings, and then the other 20 just said they can't get there on a regular basis. So that was the reason for that. And the majority vote was to continue to do it during the day. and around this 3 o'clock timeframe. So the question would really be, we've been doing it on Monday, which is the same day as team time. And I don't know if it seems like too many meetings in one day, or we could make it the first week of the month, like on Thursday at 3. And that's something I can do, like a poll in the group. I don't want to take your time now on that, but just wanted to get back to you that we will keep it during the day as a meeting, and then of course record for those that don't. But I would like a show of hands from you guys, either use your reaction or raise your hand. We used to offer, it was called Time for You. And it was an interactive question and answer time period that was available for coaches in the organization, any level, really a drop-in that I opened my Zoom on Thursdays from 12:30 to 1. And really as a drop-in for anybody to come in, ask questions, come for community, etc. So that is just one thing I would love to know by a show of hands or reaction. If we reintroduced it, would you potentially participate? And most importantly, encourage people on your teams to participate. Okay. So good. Okay. Well, we'll put that back in place. Like I said, I think that we're finding that more than ever, this community is really important. So we'll bring it back. And just really, it's your time. So keeping it there is really will be group participation. So awesome. Does anybody have anything to share as we are closing out? Anything they wanted answered? All right. Well, very good. Well, I'm excited for you guys and what's coming in the coming year. Thank you for what you're doing. Be on team time tonight. Invite your team to come. And especially if you have coaches that maybe bought their coach kit and haven't launched yet, or they've been a late bloomer, maybe feeling discouraged, or a coach that's maybe slipped in rank. It's called the Great Comeback. And I'm going to have several different coaches speak with different experience levels about shifts in their business or mindset, people that fell into that category. And then of course, we're going to show that fun video again. So look forward to seeing you guys there, and see you next time. Glad you guys are here.